You, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think about energy as a segue to job creation in America. We think about North Dakota, the unemployment rate's 3% or less. You look at the states with the lowest unemployment rate in the country, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Texas, Louisiana. It's because they're energy-driven economies. I think about offshore drilling off the coast of South Carolina and the South Atlantic, the jobs that could be created in South Carolina. But jobs are being created in South Carolina. Duke Energy just announced a new gas-fired power plant, 750 megawatt, 500 construction jobs, ultimately 25 good-paying permanent jobs at that gas plant. Milliken, in my district, Milliken's a textile company, but they're making foam core, fiberglass reinforcement component materials that go into wind farms. It makes the windmill blades lighter and stronger. But the opportunity for that component to be used in transportation components for vehicles and 18-wheelers and things that are moving because it's strong and it's light. I think about the backlog of rail cars in this country. There's a 40,000 unit backlog in rail cars to transfer the oil from the Bakken in North Dakota to the refineries by rail because there's not the pipeline capacity. 40,000 backlog, the value of $5.1 billion in rail cars that need to be made in this country. I think about companies like Frank's International in Louisiana that are making components. That's casing, cementation, drilling tools, engineering design, elevators, tongs, stabbing boards, protectors, and related accessories, all the widgets and components that go in the whole offshore and onshore drilling technology for oil and natural gas. Think about Timken Company that's providing not only the steel for a lot of this, but the Timken Company that's providing a lot of the horizontal technology components to allow horizontal drilling to take place, the bearings and the other widgets. Think about all the ships and supply vessels that are currently being made because of an offshore boom in this country. Those offshore rigs have to be serviced, and the drilling mud and the diesel fuel and the food and all the components have to be taken out to the platforms. And I think about, in my state, Boeing Industries and BMW. They're making cars and airplanes, but there's a lot of subsidiary businesses that located around those manufacturing facilities that provided everything, all the components that go into a BMW, and that's providing other jobs, not just at BMW, but at other companies that are providing the widgets. That's what would happen in oil and gas exploration and production in this country, hopefully off the coast of South Carolina. I think about the jobs, and we hear a lot in today's time about minimum wage, how that needs to increase. Well, I can guarantee you that the jobs in the energy production field, oil, gas, are not minimum wage jobs. And I would be willing to bet that the McDonald's in Williston, North Dakota is not paying minimum wage. In fact, there's a finder's fee to find employees to locate at that McDonald's and work. We're talking about good paying jobs in the energy sector. And Mr. Chairman, I look at the mural behind you, and that's probably witnessed by seen by the witnesses more than members of the committee, but I ask you to look at that, and I see energy all over that mural. From aviation industry to shipping, the barges, the transportation. I don't see an 18-wheeler. I see buses and cars, but the 18-wheelers on that highway. There's a train underneath, transportation fuels, and the rail cars that I'm talking about. I see agricultural fields. I see tractors that need to plant those fields. I see a city that's powered somehow by energy, whether it's gas-fired turbines or whether it's the transportation into the city or whether it's nuclear power. Good-paying energy jobs could be had in this country if we would just continue to pursue good policies. So, Mr. Mack, I want to ask you, you've heard me go through a lot of different jobs that might be available. Can you run down just for me and for the folks that are paying any attention, what sort of economic impact, what sort of jobs might be created in the energy sector that I may have missed?
At just about everywhere you look, you can find a trail to employment driven by energy. Construction laborers are needed for all kinds of capital projects and infrastructure projects. There's a tremendous amount of road building and bridge building and repair that goes on as a result of energy. In and around energy producing areas, the truck traffic that brings in and out the equipment used and the materials used are large trucks, and they need to reinforce and repair the roads. And so it's creating jobs in the road building industry.
Let me interrupt you. The guys driving the water trucks in Williston, North Dakota to spray water, non-potable water on the roads, keep the dust down during the dry season, they're making $70,000 a year is what I've been told. These are good paying jobs. Wouldn't you agree?
They're very good paying jobs, and there's an acute shortage of qualified drivers nationwide because of the energy boom. If you talk to the folks that run the trucking companies, the general freight trucking companies that operate in and around energy areas, they will tell you that there is an enormous competition for finding drivers with commercial driver's licenses used to haul materials in and out and equipment in and out. So it's a critical shortage area. Welding is another critical shortage area because of all the pipes and pipelines being built and all the steel structures in and around energy and the construction of facilities to process and refine energy. Welders are in critical short supply in this country.
And those guys are driving personal service trucks, and they're dropping equipment on it, and the body has to be repaired, and the engines have to be serviced. Those guys go to church and tithe. They go to the restaurants and they tip the waitresses. And trickle down economy.
Yes, sir. And they live in the communities where this is happening, and they represent businesses that are rooted in those communities, and they're contributing directly to the prosperity of those communities.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. I know you want to chime in. My time's up. Thank you, Mr. Chair.